Hi, my name is Miss Arevalo. Welcome to Virtual Room 300. I use she, her, hers pronouns. A few things about me. I attended WMS as a student. I graduated from Olympia High School in 2013, attended St. Martin's University, and am now at UW Tacoma. I am a middle child, and your students will find out whether that's a good or not so good thing. I enjoy playing ping pong with students at lunch, and hopefully, we get to do that again soon. I coach soccer at Washington with my dad and my brother. And every Friday, I do something called Friday Feature, where I try to watch a new to me movie and I take suggestions. So please pass those great movie titles on. At in Virtual Room 300, the core focus is learning who you are is what you're here to do. I want my students to get to know who they are as people, as students, in order to grow as people and as students. So our Unit 1 focuses on identity. We're thinking about who they are, what they bring to school with them every day, both physically and inside their heart homes, and how that impacts the way they see who they are. Unit 2 is all about community. How do we interact with each other? The focus on that is self and social management, self efficacy, and engagement. Unit 3, we're thinking about our mindsets. We're thinking about what we do when we feel stuck, when we hit those roadblocks. How how does who we think we are as students affect how we perform as students? The same thing goes for who we think we are as people. How does that affect how we interact with others? Um, and purpose. We're focusing on efficacy and engagement. I'm really asking students to think about what is it that they would like to work towards. Resources we'll be using include, but are not limited to, the Mind Up curriculum, social stories, and the ruler method. I also ask students to be vulnerable and share about experiences that they've been through, moments where they felt stuck or frustrated, their feelings were hurt. And we talk about possible solutions to those things as well. Students will be given time during this class period to organize their workload, get support for other classes, and practice coping strategies. In our distance learning model, I'm really trying to find a balance between teaching them these things and giving them time to work. I don't think I found that balance yet, but I think we are getting closer. Grading. Our core model for grading is I ask students to do the best they can, when they can, with what they have, and me and Mrs. Baldwin, my para, will help with all of the rest. Um, Grading is 60% participation. Students come in if they are prepared with the materials, willing to try and try again, are cooperative and reflective, even when they're feeling stuck, they are good to go. That applies for even their worst days. If they come in and they are just super feeling stuck, but they're willing to talk to me and work through it in order to get unstuck, then we are good to go. 40% is work completion, things like our weekly to-do list, organizational check-ins, and bi-monthly assignments. Your student really shouldn't have a lot of homework for this class specifically because a lot of our time and energy will be spent on completing work from other classes. They will have a Wednesday check-in and maybe something that will help them structure their assignments. But in regards to big homework assignments, they really should not have any for this class. When you go to Schoology, I hope I made it simple enough for everyone. On the front page, you will see always a list of folders. I will always put our current week at the very top, and underneath that will be the previous week for students who need to go back. If they're looking for all the other weeks, that will be in the archived weeks folder, the black one. When students look at the current week folder, there will always be a list at the bottom of what's due that week. Again, this class should not have a bunch of due dates or anything like that, but still, they'll have a few. It'll always have the assignment name and the actual due date. Once you click on that folder, you should find three things. The first thing is the slides for the week. If your student is absent, I would encourage them to start there because it kind of outlines our weekly plan and they can find the content for the class they missed. Then they will go to the in-class folder. In that folder, they'll find all of the things we did together via Zoom. Usually I ask students if we didn't finish it in class and they need more time that they do that at home or during our next class. But none of that should include homework. Where you will find their homework or assignments or check-ins is in the independent folder, work they do outside of Zoom. And as always, if they have questions, they can always ask. My expectations for my classroom, we really ask this question of our students, are you ready to learn? And I really ask them to be intentional about thinking about that question. If we're not ready to learn, what are the things we need to do? What does ready to learn look like? Well, students are on time and ready for class. They participate, whether that's speaking out loud or writing in the chat, but all their participation is on task. They make an attempt. They open the assignment, they read the directions, they try and try again, and then they ask for help. And they practice kindness, not only to others, but to themselves. Screens on are not required, but they are strongly suggested, and I can leave that up to you to have that conversation with your student. If you'd like your student to have their screen on, just send me an email and I'll be sure to remind them. What if your student isn't feeling ready to learn? They come to class and they're feeling pretty frustrated. Well, we can meet one-on-one in a breakout room during that class session, and I and that student can work through some coping strategies and think about how can we become unstuck. Um, we can problem solve together. Sometimes students just need to feel heard. Sometimes they need someone to help them make a plan about how to get unstuck. And that is exactly what I'm there for. So all I ask is that my students are honest with me. They are feeling frazzled, frustrated, overwhelmed. All I ask is in the chat, they say, Miss Arevalo, I'm not ready to learn. And that's going to tell me that I need to move to a breakout room with them, and we need to create a plan so that they are ready to learn. Lastly, almost lastly, what can we do at home? We're working with our students here in Virtual Room 300 to retrain our brains. And that work has to not only be done at school, but at home. And so I encourage all of you to name any growth moments you see at home. Celebrate those small wins together, those little moments where they're helpful, or you notice that they're doing something well that they have been working really hard towards. Notice those things, name those things. Encourage your child to use their coping strategies at home. Using the same language is key. Once I've kind of identified with the students what coping strategies work for who, I'll be sure to send emails about the language we're using with your student. Encourage your child to be a self-advocate. Your teachers have emails on websites, they have Schoology. Encourage your child when they need help to send a message asking for that help. And of course, as always, just like I tell my students, take a deep breath, assume best intentions, and grow together. If you'd like to contact me, please use my email. I'm in the building sometimes and I'm not in the building. So if you'd like me to call you, email me with a few times that work for you, and I will be sure to follow through. And that includes Zoom if you'd like to set up an in-person meeting. Thank you, and I'm looking forward to a great year.